what's going on? This is Andy Irvine here with another episode of the Daily Funk Club. Right on, I've really been enjoying this process and I hope you have too. Today I'm going to tell you about, play a little bit with my G&L L2000 bass. This is from 1995 and I'm a big fan of G&L basses. I have 3 now and I just got this one. I had wanted an L2000 for many years. It's like one of those kind of holy grail of bass guitars, I think. You know, Leo Fender, starting with Fender, going to Music Man, and then eventually to G&L, he was kind of always evolving. And I think in his mind, he was always improving what the boundaries, pushing the boundaries of what a bass guitar could do, you know? And this one is kind of like, the L2000 is definitely one that I think he was really proud of. It has a lot of cool features. And particularly in the electronics, he took things to a new level with having 2 humbuckers and active passive electronic possibilities. It has some pretty cool switching capabilities on it. It has these 3 little toggle switches, and the first toggle switch is just a pickup selector. So that's just a 3-way pickup selector. And then the second one is a 2-way switch, which is a series parallel switch, and then the last is just an active, passive, and treble boost switch. And then the 3 knobs are volume, active treble, and active bass. And you know, sometimes people think that's a little confusing. I don't really think it's that confusing at all, but you know, it gets a great tone, and I love these instruments. You know, the necks feel so good on them. It's like the big difference is like the feeling of the quality of the neck. Like, I can pick it up instantly, and it just has that kind of USA G&L quality feel to it. And this one's in this midnight, this sparkle blue, this sparkle midnight blue color, which I love. Rosewood fingerboard. So you know, it has kind of a vintage vibe, for sure, but also a modern vibe with the active electronics. Now, right now, I have it set in with both pickups on, so that would be the middle position, and then I have it in parallel mode, which is going to be a bigger sound, and then I also, well, here, I'll show you. You know, that's more of the single coil sound. And then pushing it over, it gets about twice as big. And then in the back, I just have it in active mode. I don't have it in the treble boost, and I don't have it in the passive mode. I have it in active mode. And then in terms of the 2 controls, I have them both set at about 75% boosted treble and boosted bass with the active circuit. Yeah. So, yeah, I really love the G&L basses, particularly the USA made ones. I have 3. I have an SB2, custom shop SB2 that's really rad. I love it. And I have my G&L L5500 that I've had since 1992, I think. And that bass I've played on a lot of recordings and a lot of gigs. I can't even count them, but it's thousands of gigs and at least 50 or 60 albums. So let's talk about something that we can learn today, okay? I was doing that thing at the beginning of this video, and I was incorporating double stops. And double stops is just when you play 2 pitches simultaneously. And what I was doing was, I was starting on a B flat, which would be the 6th fret of the E string, and then I was playing the major 3rd above in B flat, which is D natural, but an octave up. Okay, we call these tenths, because if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the 3rd an octave up is the 10th. So, and I was just taking that shape and sliding it up from B flat to B natural to C, and I was kind of laying in kind of a funk groove in the key of C. anything like that. You can just create a little bit of a sequence. I like to call it, like sequence style bass line composing, where you kind of have a question and then an answer. You can pull the strings, you can put in little coloration type of things, like that little trill I did there. You can do pull-offs. That time I pulled it. You'll hear me do that lick all the time. You'll hear me do a lot of the licks I do all the time, because these are the licks I like to do, and this is my style. It's how I play. I kind of got that from a lot of the traditional funk music. But you can play that with your fingers too. And not always, but a lot of times I try and put a little bit of character in the way that I play my pitches. A little bit of vibrato. So if you wanted to, you could take this now. Every fourth time I come around, I do a longer lick. I could do so if we broke that down, it would start with the ascending double stop tenths, B flat up to C, and then just chromatically on the A string, B flat, B natural, C as the first answer. And now here I do a longer lick for like a whole measure. And that's just based out of the blues scale. And there's, a plethora of right hand techniques you could use. You could use the palm mute, you could play with your fingers and just keep it real bubbly. You could grab the strings and yank them. So there's a lot of different ways to attack the bass and to attack the strings using left hand nuance and different right hand techniques, but certainly start to incorporate some double stops in there. If we use them in a really cool and tasteful way, man, it's such a great thing. George Porter Jr., one of my favorite bass players of all time. There's just so many great bass players, and Larry Graham, and just everybody has incorporated that kind of flavor into the bass lines that they've created over the years. Iconic bass lines. One of the most famous ones is "Take a Walk on the Wild Side," right? That's where you really hear it. That's where I first got turned on to it. But then over the years, I started hearing it in a lot of different places. So try out that tenths, double stops using the tenths, which is the major third, an octave up. And have some fun with that. Create your own bass lines. In another episode, later on down the line, as we keep going, maybe I'll do a diatonic, kind of lesson where we talk about using those double stops in a diatonic key and moving all the way through the whole key, and we'll go there. But for now, let's just funk out, and pick a key and start incorporating some of that, incorporating some of those tenths. Right on. Thanks for tuning in, friends, and you know, keep coming back, you know, keep hanging out here. I'm doing all kinds of cool stuff. I've got a really cool video with Cody Wright I'm about to release. Cody was here visiting. A couple weeks ago, Bobby Vega was here visiting. Stu Ham's coming by to visit. I got all kinds of cool bass players that are coming out here to Colorado to visit me and hang out here at the Daily Funk Club. And, you know, hey, if you're looking for a killer bass, I can't say enough about G&L. And I have, you know, I don't have any affiliation to G&L at all, except that I love them. But I'd say go get one, especially an American one. You know, I have 3 of them now. And, oh, and by the way, I'm playing through the Ampeg 50-watt all-tube PF50T head and the 2 flip-top cabs. The top one has 2 10s in it, and the bottom one has 1 15 in it. Perfecto. I just love it. It's a perfect small or medium-sized completely full tube rig, and you know, it's got that old school, you know, James Jamerson, you know, all day long. It's got the old school tube vibe. So yeah, definitely check out the new Ampeg flip top stuff. All right, y'all, we'll see you next time. Rock on.